Hey, Jack, got any exciting plans for the weekend?
Actually, I've been meaning to catch up on a few things. I'm thinking of running some errands and then maybe hanging out with friends. What about you?
I'm planning to do something I've been putting off. I want to explore the city a bit. Do you know any cool spots I should check out?
Oh, that sounds great. When you say explore the city, that's a phrase we often use to mean wandering around and discovering new places. Do you understand what I mean by exploring?
Yes, I think so. It's like walking around and seeing different neighborhoods and attractions, right? But can you explain a bit more about how people typically use that phrase?
Sure. When we say explore the city, it usually means you're going to walk or travel around, maybe visit some new places you haven't seen before. It's more active than just sightseeing. For example, someone might say, I'm going to explore downtown this weekend, meaning they'll walk around, maybe discover a new cafe, check out some shops, or visit an interesting neighborhood.
That's helpful. So when I use explore, it implies I'm not just going to tourist spots, but really trying to understand the city's character?
Exactly, you've got the right idea. So, what specific areas are you thinking of exploring?
I was thinking of checking out some local markets and maybe a few vintage shops. I heard there's a great area downtown with lots of interesting stores. I'm planning to kill two birds with one stone, have fun, and practice my English by talking to local shopkeepers.
Wait, let me explain the phrase you just used. Kill two birds with one stone is an idiom that means accomplishing two things with a single action. In your case, you're enjoying the city and improving your language skills at the same time. It's a common expression in English.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like being efficient and getting multiple benefits from one activity?
Precisely. Native English speakers use this phrase all the time, like, I'll go grocery shopping on my way home from work and kill two birds with one stone.
I love learning these expressions. Do you have any recommendations for markets or areas I should definitely visit?
Definitely, I recommend the farmer's market on Saturday morning. It's bustling with activity, and you'll hear lots of natural conversations. Plus, you can sample local produce and practice your conversational skills.
That sounds perfect. I'm always looking for opportunities to brush up on my English. Could you explain what that phrase means?
Brush up on means to review or improve skills that you already have but might be a bit rusty. So when you say you want to brush up on your English, it means you want to practice and improve your existing language skills.
Got it. So instead of learning something completely new, I'm refreshing and improving what I already know.
Exactly. And the market will be a great place to do that. People there are usually friendly and open to conversation.
I'm getting excited. Do you have any tips for starting conversations with strangers in English? I sometimes feel nervous.
Sure, start simple. At a market, you could ask about a product like, how fresh are these tomatoes? Or, do you recommend this fruit? Most people are happy to chat and will appreciate that you're making an effort.
That's a great tip. I'll definitely keep that in mind. What are you planning to do this weekend?
I'm planning to catch up on some personal projects. Oh, let me explain catch up. It means to do things you've been meaning to do but haven't had time for recently.
Like clearing your to-do list?
Exactly. I want to organize my room, do some laundry, and work on a coding project I've been postponing. Then, on Sunday, I'm meeting some friends for brunch.
Brunch. Is that a specific mealtime?
Great question. Brunch is a combination of breakfast and lunch, typically eaten late morning around 10 or 11 a.m. It's very popular on weekends when people aren't in a rush.
Sounds nice. Do you have any recommendations for good brunch spots? What do you typically do during brunch with your friends?
We usually chat, catch up on each other's lives, and share stories over good food. It's a relaxed way to spend weekend mornings.
That sounds like a great tradition. In my country, we have similar social gatherings, but they're usually later in the day.
Different cultures have unique social traditions. Social traditions means regular practices that bring people together. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I think so, like rituals or common ways people spend time together in a social setting.
Exactly, you've captured the meaning perfectly. Cultural practices can vary widely around the world.
Speaking of cultural practices, do Americans always eat brunch on weekends?
Not always. Brunch became popular in the 1930, but now it's more of a weekend option. Some people prefer traditional breakfast or sleeping in,
What does sleeping in mean?
Sleeping in means staying in bed later than usual, typically past your normal wake-up time. On weekends, many people enjoy this relaxation.
Oh, I see. In my country, we have a similar concept. Do most young people in America do this?
Many do, especially college students and young professionals. It's a way to rest after a busy work or study week.
I'm still adjusting to the weekend culture here. Could you explain more about typical weekend activities?
Sure, people often do errands like grocery shopping, laundry, and cleaning. Some exercise, meet friends, watch movies, or pursue hobbies.
What's a typical hobby Americans enjoy?
Many enjoy hiking, playing sports, cooking, gaming, or learning new skills. Hobbies vary widely based on individual interests.
I'm trying to find a hobby to practice my English. Any suggestions?
Great idea. Join language exchange groups, book clubs, or conversation meetups. These help improve language skills while meeting people.
What's a language exchange?
A language exchange is when two people with different native languages meet to help each other practice. You might speak English with me, and I'd practice your native language.
That sounds fun. How do I find such groups?
Check online platforms like Meetup, Facebook groups, or university language centers. Many cities have organized language exchange events.
I'm getting excited about exploring more weekend activities and improving my English.
The key is to stay curious and open to new experiences. Every interaction is a chance to learn.
Do you have any recommendations for weekend activities that help with language learning?
Absolutely. Podcasts, movies, and joining conversation groups are excellent ways to improve English skills.
Could you explain how podcasts help with language learning?
Podcasts expose you to natural spoken English, different accents, and everyday vocabulary. They help with listening comprehension and pronunciation.
What kinds of podcasts do you recommend?
Start with beginner-friendly podcasts like English as a Second Language shows, news podcasts, or topic-based podcasts about your interests.
How often should I listen to improve my skills?
Aim for consistency. Even 15-30 minutes daily can make a significant difference in your language learning journey.
What about watching movies? Any tips for using them as a learning tool?
Use subtitles initially. Start with English subtitles, then progress to no subtitles. Choose movies in genres you enjoy to stay motivated.
That sounds like a fun way to learn. Do you have favorite movies you'd recommend?
Popular movies with clear dialogue work best. Pixar movies, comedies, and dramas are great for language learners.
I'm curious about idioms. How can I learn them naturally?
Movies and conversations are perfect for learning idioms. When you hear a new expression, write it down and ask a native speaker about its meaning.
Do you have a favorite idiom you can share?
Bite off more than you can chew means taking on more responsibility than you can handle. It's a common expression in English.
That's interesting. How would you use that in a sentence?
For example, I tried to learn 3 languages at once and realized I bit off more than I could chew.
Weekend plans can be overwhelming. How do people typically plan their weekends?
Many use digital calendars or planning apps. Some prefer a simple to-do list. The key is finding a system that works for you.
What's a good way to balance relaxation and productivity on weekends?
Schedule some free time alongside your planned activities. Don't overpack your schedule. Leave room for spontaneity and rest.
Any tips for managing time effectively?
Prioritize important tasks, set realistic goals, and don't forget to include activities you enjoy. Balance is crucial.
How do Americans typically spend their weekends?
Varies by individual, but common activities include family time, outdoor activities, hobbies, socializing, and catching up on personal tasks.
What does catching up mean exactly?
Catching up means completing tasks you've fallen behind on or reconnecting with people you haven't spoken to recently.
Any final advice for making the most of weekends?
Stay flexible, try new things, and use weekends as an opportunity for personal growth and enjoyment.
What are some budget-friendly weekend activities for students?
Many affordable options exist. Public parks offer free hiking. Museums often have discounted days, and community events can be great entertainment.
How can international students find such events?
Check university bulletin boards, local community websites, and social media event pages. Many cities have free weekend activities.
Do you recommend any specific apps for finding weekend events?
Meetup, Eventbrite, and Facebook events are excellent for discovering local activities. Most are free or low cost.
How do people typically decide on weekend plans?
Some plan ahead, others are spontaneous. The phrase play it by ear means being flexible and making decisions in the moment.
Can you explain play it by ear more?
It means not having a strict plan and instead deciding what to do based on how you feel or what opportunities arise.
What are common weekend communication patterns among friends?
Group chats are popular. People often send messages like, "What's everyone up to this weekend?" to make informal plans.
How far in advance do Americans typically plan weekends?
It varies. Some plan weeks ahead, others decide Friday evening. Spontaneity is quite common in social planning.
What weekend skills are useful for newcomers to learn?
Time management, budgeting, exploring the city, and understanding local social norms are key skills for international students.
How can I improve my weekend planning skills?
Start small, use a planner, set realistic goals, leave room for flexibility, and don't be afraid to try new experiences.
Any tips for managing weekend expenses?
Create a budget, look for student discounts, use free community resources, and prioritize experiences over expensive activities.
What's a typical weekend budget for a student?
Depends on location, but many students aim to spend between $50 and $100 for entertainment, food, and activities.
How do students typically split expenses during group activities?
Going Dutch means everyone pays for themselves. Apps like Splitwise help track shared expenses easily.
Can you explain going Dutch in more detail?
When a group agrees that each person pays for their own meal or activity rather than one person paying for everyone.
What weekend skills help with language learning?
Socializing, attending language exchange events, participating in group activities, and practicing conversation skills.
Any final advice for making weekends productive and fun?
Balance is key. Mix learning, relaxation, socializing, and personal growth. Don't be too hard on yourself.
I think it would be helpful to review the important words and phrases we've discussed today about weekend plans and English learning.
Great idea. Let's recap the key expressions and their meanings. We covered several key idioms and phrases. Kill two birds with one stone means accomplishing two things with a single action. Brush up on refers to reviewing or improving existing skills. Catch up means completing tasks you've fallen behind on or reconnecting with people.
What about phrases related to weekend activities?
Explore the city means actively wandering around and discovering new places. Sleeping in is staying in bed later than usual. Hang out means spending casual time with friends.
We talked about language learning strategies too, right?
Language exchange involves practicing languages with native speakers. Using podcasts helps with listening skills. Watching movies with subtitles, joining conversation groups, and attending community events are great ways to improve English.
What weekend planning tips did we discuss?
Balance productivity and relaxation. Use digital calendars for to-do lists. Leave room for spontaneity. Look for budget-friendly activities. Apps like Meetup and Eventbrite are great for finding events.
Do you have final advice for learning English through weekend activities?
Stay curious, be open to new experiences, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every conversation is a learning opportunity.
This feels like a perfect summary of everything we've talked about.
That's the goal, to make language learning natural and engaging.
Can we continue reviewing more language learning strategies?
Absolutely. Breaking the ice means starting a conversation with someone new. Small talk involves casual, light conversation to build rapport.
What are some useful conversational techniques?
Active listening is key. Use phrases like, "I see," "tell me more," and ask follow-up questions to show engagement.
Are there cultural nuances in English conversations?
Yes, Americans appreciate directness, but with politeness. Please and thank you go a long way. Understanding personal space and maintaining appropriate eye contact are important.
What about professional versus casual language?
In professional settings, use more formal language. Avoid slang. In casual conversations with friends, you can be more relaxed and use colloquial expressions.
Can you give examples of professional versus casual language?
Professional, I would appreciate your assistance. Can you help me out? Professional, I am unable to attend. Casual,
How can I improve my pronunciation?
Listen to native speakers, use language learning apps, practice tongue twisters, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
What are common communication challenges for language learners?
Idioms can be tricky. Understanding context, managing different accents, and recognizing informal speech patterns take time and practice.
Any tips for overcoming language learning anxiety?
Remember, everyone starts somewhere. Practice makes perfect is a true saying. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities.
How important is confidence in language learning?
Extremely important. Fake it till you make it means acting confident even when you're unsure. Confidence helps you communicate more effectively.
What resources would you recommend for continuous learning?
Podcasts, YouTube channels, language exchange apps, English news websites, and conversation groups are excellent resources.
Let's talk about some final tips for mastering English communication.
Communication is about more than just words. Body language, tone, and cultural understanding are crucial.
How can I sound more natural when speaking English?
Practice conversational fillers like well, and I mean. These make speech sound more authentic, but don't overuse them.
What are common mistakes international students make?
Translating directly from their native language, overusing formal language, and being afraid to make mistakes are typical challenges.
Any advice for thinking in English?
Start by narrating your daily activities in English. Keep a journal, talk to yourself, or record voice notes to practice thinking in the language.
How long does it typically take to become fluent?
Fluency varies. Consistent practice, immersion, and real-world communication are more important than tracking time.
What's the most important aspect of language learning?
Persistence and courage. Don't fear making mistakes. Every conversation is a learning opportunity.
Any final words of encouragement?
Learning a language is a journey. Celebrate small victories, stay curious, and enjoy the process of connecting with people.
This conversation has been incredibly helpful.
Remember, language learning is about communication, not perfection. Keep practicing, stay confident, and have fun.